Hey everybody, it's Miss A and I'm here with a recap video on what we did in class today. We talked about attributes of shapes. So the first thing we talked about, well, what are attributes? And attributes for shapes are their angles and their sides. And we're looking to angles and sides in order to, and the whole purpose of this is to be able to group these shapes in certain ways. They have to have commonalities. So we talked about if I have a shape that looks like this, right? We talked about if we have this shape, and let's sides, and so that would be sides like measure, let me put that here, measure, length, and type. So if they're parallel, perpendicular, or intersecting. So we want to determine whether this has any parallel sides. So the trick that I told the students is to extend the length of the legs to see if they're ever going to cross. So I'm going to take this first one here. And remember, when we're talking about parallel lines, those are opposite. So if it's the opposite side. So this and this would be the two that I'm comparing. And if it was this one, it would be this one and this one. So I am extending the length of my legs, and when I look at this, I can see that it's equal distance. So what that tells me is that the left and the right side of this shape are parallel. So there's one set, right now, one set of parallel lines. Parallel lines. 2 dashes like that means parallel. That's a short way to write it. So now I'm going to extend the legs of the top and bottom to see if I get the same thing. And this is the technique that I showed you guys in class on how to do this to make sure. So when I extend the legs on my plane, I see that they don't touch. But if I were to extend the line, because remember, lines continue to go on. If I extend the line, they are intersecting. So the top and bottom are intersecting lines. All right. So let me do this. So here I have this particular shape, and I want to extend the legs. And if I extend the legs, I see that it's equal distant here. And if I extend the legs here, I see that it is equal distance. So once I've done this, I now realize that it is 2 sets of parallel lines. So this was one piece of what we did today. We also talked about grouping shapes. So our example of what we did is we had something like this. And we talked about grouping shapes that maybe you wouldn't think to put together. So we have this particular shape, and let's say we have this shape. So we have these 2 shapes, and these 2 shapes are in a group together. And our task is to figure out, why did we put these 2 shapes together? So the first thing I'm going to look at is I'm going to look at the sides. I see this, so I'm going to write the attributes. It has 4 sides. This one has 3 sides. All right. Let me see. Do I have any parallel lines? All right. Well, this, remember, it's opposite, so it would be this side and this side. Well, those definitely aren't parallel because they actually intersect up here. And there's not another set here, so there's only one. Let me look here. This one I'm going to have to test because I'm not sure if there's any parallel lines. All right, so I'd see there's no parallel lines. So no parallel lines. No parallel. All right, do I have any legs that are the same length? These are all different. These are all different. So no same length legs. All right, so we've checked the measure, which is the length. We've checked whether they're parallel, and we've checked the number. So we're good there. Now let's work to the angles. So I'm looking at the angles. That's an obtuse angle. This one's acute. This one is obtuse. And this is acute. All right, so 2 obtuse, 2 acute. Let's look at this one. I have a right angle. I have acute and acute. So 1 right, 2 acute. All right, so once we have all the attributes taken care of, we're then going to look for the things that they have similar in order to group them. So I can't group them by the number of sides. That's out because this one has 4, this has 3. Now I could make a group of no parallel lines. That could be a group, no parallel lines. So I'm going to write that up here as a group that I could make. So check, check. I could make a group with no sides, same length. I could make a group like that. Obtuse, nope, no obtuse, can't do that because there's not one over here. Acute, 2 acute. I could make a group of this where it's 2 acute sides. So these are, if I wanted to make a group using these 2 particular shapes, this could be the grouping of my shapes. Those are my options. All right, that's what we had to do today. Thanks for watching, everybody.